Welcome to the Project Learn microlearning focused on school partnerships. As we're getting started, imagine one way you could better serve youth through a strong partnership with local schools. Maybe partnering with schools would enable you to reach more youth. Maybe it would make your homework help programs more effective. Maybe it would allow you to extend the hours that you serve young people, or involve your staff in professional development opportunities they don't previously have access to. But just think for a minute about what you might be able to do through a strong partnership with the schools in your area. This session focuses on the school partnerships component of Project Learn. The reason for a focus on partnerships is that young people learn across multiple settings. We know they're learning at home, they're learning at school, they're learning in the club, they're learning throughout the day. And clubs can do some really impactful work helping youth thrive when they partner with schools and partner with families and caregivers, so that young people have a strong ecosystem of support working together to help them be successful learners and leaders in their community. There are some really great school partnerships resources available on the Project Learn page and the school partnerships page of bgca.net, or you can find them on the Program Basics Planner in the schools section. The place to start when you see this collection of resources is the School Partnerships Planning Guide. This is a new tool that's designed to support continuous quality improvement related to school partnerships. And it's organized around the continuous quality improvement framework of assess, plan, improve. In the assessment category, you'll get some guidance for how you could use youth level data, caregiver data, school data, and community data to assess the current opportunity for club and school partnerships, to assess the current needs and opportunities. In the planning section, you'll see some support for developing shared goals between your club and school, for establishing partnership opportunities, for engaging in outreach, and for developing relationships, since a critical component of a good school partnership is developing relationships at every level, between youth development professionals and teachers, between club directors and principals, between club CEOs and district or state level leaders. But relationships at every level make a big difference. Finally, in the improve category, you'll see some guidance for how to evaluate, how to sustain, and how to expand a strong school partnership. Partnerships don't always look the same in every community, and you'll see some options for how you might engage in a foundational partnership, getting started with things like making sure there's a bus that takes young people from the school to club, or vice versa, or finding ways to share spaces or share facilities that both the club and school could use. So those are some foundational partnership opportunities. With a little bit more effort and intentionality, you can look at some of these developing partnership opportunities. Things like coordinating between volunteers and mentors, formally offering tutoring in a way that's collaborative, sharing professional development or collaborating on events. And then at the more advanced level, we see things like clubs that are running virtual learning centers and really supporting virtual school. Clubs that have formal data sharing agreements with the school so that they can look at youth data in a way that's in compliance with FERPA, and make some really targeted decisions about how to support youth. This chart is one of the many things that you can find in that school partnerships planning guide, but just wanted to highlight the way that partnerships can look different for different communities. And you'll see tools and supports for whatever type of partnership is the right fit for you. A few other resources you'll see in the school partnerships section are some tools that are meant to help you describe our programs. The reason for this is that In order to build that sense of shared goals and build understanding with the school about what your club does, it might be helpful to describe our programs in the language that resonates with schools. One way to do that is by using the Youth Development Resource Catalog. I've mentioned this previously as a way that you could choose high-yield learning activities for the youth in your club, but it's also a good way to describe the programs we offer using the language of academic and social and emotional skill building. This way you could easily, for each of the programs that you offer in your club, say, here are the things that we're helping young people to do. And I think many schools recognize the value that clubs bring, specifically in that space of social and emotional learning. If you want a much more detailed and rigorous way to describe our programs, mapping our programs to national standards is a document that walks through some of the Boys and Girls Clubs of America programs and describes specifically which national standards they're supporting. So using the language of the Common Core, which is a set of national academic standards, the CASEL standards for social and emotional learning, the Next Generation Science standards, and other relevant standards. It describes exactly what skills young people are building in those various programs. When you're first establishing a partnership, it's also really important to be able to describe our value in the language that resonates with schools to describe what clubs can offer. And so the needs and solutions menu basically outlines a collection of needs that often exist in school districts. So schools may say, you know, we really need a way to support academic support after school to help young people who may have been struggling with certain academic concepts, to provide tutoring to youth who need tutoring. And so if that's a need, you'll see some ways that the club can implement a solution, like implementing Project Learn and offering homework help and tutoring. So this is a great way to work on a value proposition if you're gonna set up a conversation with clubs and basically say, let's talk about what we might be able to do together if we were to partner. If you want an even more guided conversation about what a partnership could look like after that sort of initial agreement that the club and school should all get together, if you've got everyone at the table and you're wondering what to do, the partnership workshop is a collection of resources, including a step-by-step agenda, a note-taking template, and a slide deck that guides the conversation. And it basically walks you through the process of analyzing community data to look at needs and assets, developing collaborative solutions, and brainstorming next steps. So you could really set up this workshop, use the tools that are included here, and walk away with some shared goals that your club and the local school could work on together with some ideas of who's going to do what as a next step. So those are some of the resources available to you supporting school partnerships. I want to ask you to reflect on a few questions. First, what relationships already exist between your club and your school? Maybe you already know the Spanish teacher, or you know someone's related to the custodian, or you know that the bus driver is friends with both your staff and the school staff. So identify those relationships that already exist. What opportunities to build relationships do you see? Maybe there is a community event coming up that you might go to. Maybe you might bring some of your club staff to a school football game or some other event where you could meet people. Maybe you can reach out and schedule a meeting, go to a school board meeting. What opportunities do you see to build relationships? And finally, if you were to ask local schools about your club, what would they say? How would they describe your club right now? And what do you hope they'll say in the future? And this question might give you a sense of where you could communicate about the work your club is doing, the value your club brings to the community, and the opportunities to collaborate. So feel free to pause here, and when you've had a chance to reflect or discuss with a colleague, here are some next steps to try. First, download and read the school partnerships planning guide to get a sense of what might be possible for you and what some next steps might be. And then start to identify some data that you already have or that you could collect for the continuous quality improvement process. So maybe you could start thinking about whether you have access to any student academic data, or if you want to survey youth about what they could use some more support with in school, what opportunities they see for the club and school to work together. You could consider a conversation with caregivers where you ask those types of questions, but just start to think about what data you could use or collect, all in the service of building strong partnerships between your club and the school.